An all-new Dr. Phil.
I've been drinking since, I don't know, 8 o'clock this morning.
Black and blue.
He had fallen. His face was black.
He had a brain bleed. He did everything but die.
I think I've had 5 or 6 injuries since I've been drinking. I got a concussion.
And blackout drunk.
Police found you in the floor, said you were closer to death without being dead than anybody he's ever seen. He said you didn't understand why your wife and children didn't want to be around you. After watching these videos,
I don't understand why.
you can't navigate across 10 feet without running into stuff, but you get in a car and drive drunk. That is arrogant, psychopathic bull. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Thank you. Okay, take a look at these photos. What do you think could have possibly caused this type of injury? Well, last November, 48-year-old Shane was so intoxicated he hit the back of his head and ended up in the ER, but that wasn't Shane's only visit to the hospital. Just 2 weeks ago, when he wasn't answering his door, police were called, and this is how they found him.
Shane, the right police department. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Shane, can you sit up? Hey, do you want to go to the hospital?
No, sir.
I think it's a good idea. Shane, you remember me? Remember I had to come into your apartment and get you last time?
Yeah.
Sadly, that was not enough to stop Shane from drinking. Just last week, our team reached out to him and found him intoxicated at 3:30 in the afternoon. Now, he said he had been drinking since 10 that morning.
Can you show me what you were drinking?
Hell.
Shane, are you okay?
No. Total out.
Do you want me to call for help?
No.
Shane continued to drink over the next 30 hours. Here's what happened when our crew arrived at his apartment.
I'm going to take a little swig of this. I've been drinking since, I don't know, 8 o'clock this morning. I fell last night. All right, there it is.
Well, Shane's friend Opie wrote to me saying he's living on borrowed time and fears it won't be long before she gets the call saying her friend is dead.
When I first met Shane, he was clean cut, professional, sharp as a tack, someone that you wanted to be around. But now, he's more drunk than he is sober.
I want to drink all the time, and it sucks. It's terrible.
Shane is sloppy. No one wants to be around him. He is buying vodka by the half gallon. Within a few days, the bottle's empty.
Every 30 minutes, I need another swig, just to kind of keep me on top of the buzz game.
Just last month, he had fallen while he was drinking. They put him in ICU for 10 days due to a brain bleed. In 2018, he had fallen. His face was almost totally black. Since Shane's black and blue incident, he's in a constant state of pity. I've heard him so many times say, "This is it, I'm not gonna drink anymore." And the next thing I know, he's back at it. The Dr. Phil crew showed up to his house and he was plastered.
You're looking a little wobbly. You've been drinking all day?
Yeah.
The children have been around him while he was severely drunk. The kids are afraid to be around him when he's drinking. Things have gotten so bad with Shane that I asked him, okay, the next step is going to be your funeral. We talked about that while you were laying in a hospital bed.
Oh, Lord, I sure don't remember that.
I said, you're gonna die. So who do you want as your pallbearers? Where do you want to be buried? What do you want me to tell your children? Because this is it. It's gotten that serious.
Okay, how long have you known Shane?
About 20 years.
20 years. Okay, How long has he been in this condition?
As far as I know, about 2.5 years.
What do you think caused him to fall off the cliff?
Drinking, I think, has caused his marriage to fail.
But why did he start doing that? If he was healthy and interesting and vibrant about life, and then all of a sudden he is a falling down, staggering drunk. What caused that to happen? What caused that transition? In your opinion, I'm not asking you to play doctor here. I'm just asking you know.
I feel that he had a high performance job, maybe entertaining clients, living the great life, you know, the great marriage, the great family, the nice house, the nice boat. And I feel that alcohol was part of that lifestyle, and it got a hold of him.
It just caught up with him.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and did he notice that at the time?
Oh, no.
So he just thought this is just party time?
Yeah.
Okay. Does he own this, or does he blame others for it?
No, he owns it. He owns it. He has no idea why, but he's owning it now.
Now, he has 2 children.
Yes.
And they're 10 and 13?
Yes.
And he has the right to see them, but only supervised.
Right.
Okay. Now, he hasn't seen them since February?
I believe so.
So that's 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
So he has the right to see them,
Right.
but he hasn't exercised that right.
Right.
Would you have ever thought that of him?
No, never.
Now, you say this month he went to the ICU for 10 days and the emergency room for 2 days. What's his reaction to that? He's in there for 10 days, tubes, things running in and out of his body, trying to keep him alive. At that time, does he at least have a come to Jesus then? Does he say, okay, I'm done, that's it?
For a day or two. For
Okay.
a day or two.
It lasts a day or two.
3 days from the ICU incident. Yes, sir.
And he looks at himself in the mirror and sees that horrific mask of blood, which is just essentially lividity. I mean, that's just, he severed an artery, fell face down. That's how blood pools in dependent tissues. That's what happens to a corpse.
Yes, I know.
And so but he just didn't die. He did everything but die.
I know that.
Did it scare him? When he looked in the mirror, did that scare him?
I think so. He called me and said, I've got a problem. And I told him, I said, you've got to go to the hospital.
When this happened?
Yes, when that happened.
So he wasn't going to the hospital?
No.
As it turned out, he had a brain bleed.
Mm-hmm.
And you say when you went out of town for a few days and you got back, you thought he was dead.
Yes, yes.
Just non-responsive.
Non-responsive.
And so you got a wellness check.
Yes.
That's when they found him.
Well, that was another incident.
Right, but he said, you remember me? Cop says, you remember me? That's from the time before.
Yes.
And this time they found him, he's passed out in the floor, and he's laying in a big pool of his own urine.
Yes, sir.
Because he's been there a while.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about the guns he has.
He's got quite a few rifles, a couple of pistols, and...
He's got 10 guns.
Oh, yeah.
He keeps them in a safe. That's what he hit his head on when he fell backwards, right?
I assume, yes.
Iron gun safe.
Yes.
How do you feel about him having those guns?
I've got them. I don't want him to...
You got him away from him?
Oh, yes. With the advisement of the police department. Yes.
Yeah. Because one thing we know is when you get that drunk and you hear him being pitiful and saying, oh my God, and you feel that sorry for yourself, it's just it's not a big leap.
You're right.
To say, and I don't deserve to live,
Right.
I'm just going to end this all right now.
You're right.
It can seem like a really good idea at the time.
At the time.
And you recognize that.
Yes,
So did he
sir.
resist giving you the guns?
He didn't even know about it until a few days later.
So you got him without him knowing it,
Oh, yeah.
but you do have them.
I have them.
Yeah. All right, next Shane says he drinks to feel good and have a good time. Does that look like somebody that's having a good time? He says when he wakes up, he feels like hell. So how's he feeling today? Well, I'm going to ask him because you're going to meet him right after the break.
I knew I was going to be coming out of Dr. Phil's, so I didn't want to drink tomorrow. What I'm sad about is my ex-wife leaving me.
It's non-stop drama.
Drinking in the morning on the way here.
Yeah, I got a problem. Fair enough.
You ought to have the world on a string. And instead, you got a smart mouth and a lazy ass.
All month long.
My mom is addicted to painkillers.
She throws herself down the stairs so she can get pain pills.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't understand the daily pain. You're not there.
I can't have you here if you're going to buy her bull.
Because when things get ugly,
I've been living a double life.
the truth
Nicole discovered her husband has been in a long-term secret affair. That affair is with a man.
isn't always pretty.
The private investigator found out who the man was. You can learn a lot about him on the sex offender registry.
Families in crisis.
Ray was holding her terminally ill mother hostage in the back of our production vehicle.
Mama, please, no, please, stop it.
You have embarrassed yourself, and the fact that you are willing to do this to your mother is selfish and ridiculous, and shame on you.
I'm not in denial. She's such a sweet, sweet little girl.
No, she's not. She's an absolute brat.
Explosive revelations.
Are you a 33-year-old scam artist?
Christine Barnett tells us the girl she adopted was no child at all, but a fraud who tried to kill her family.
It comes down to whether or not you are an evil dwarf that's come over here to murder everybody.
The truth comes out.
Fertility doctor who fathered nearly 70 children is warning his secret offspring to keep quiet.
Way out.
He betrayed my mom and my dad's trust.
Violated 70 women, consequence, 0.
Dr. Phil, November.
You got 10 seconds to sit down and talk to me, and if you don't, you're not going to believe what happens next.
How much have you been drinking?
A fifth vodka.
Can you show me what you were drinking?
Hell,
Shane, are you okay?
no. I'm sick. First, total out.
Do you want me to call for help?
No. No.
Were you taking a shot?
Yes, I'm a party animal.
Have you been drinking water?
No, but drinking vodka.
Do you ever go days like where you don't drink at all?
No, Lord, no. I haven't had a drink until yesterday. Yeah, all week.
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, feeling good.
How much have you been drinking?
Not much.
Not much. Friday, we were in touch with Shane, who was very intoxicated. Our team got to his apartment at 9 p.m. that night. He was not in good shape.
I've got a problem with drinking alcohol. Yep, there you go. I'm going to take a little swig of this. Yeah, I've been drinking since, I don't know, 8 o'clock this morning. I feel fine now. I'm a little bit buzzed and a little bit drunk and a little bit, I feel good. I do have a little cut on my lip. I fell last night talking to Andrea with the Dr. Phil show and fell forward and hit something and...
Do you have trouble remembering stuff like the next day or?
Well, if it happens after about probably 4 or 5 in the afternoon, I don't remember. It's just a washout. Now, that's probably the second one. I knew I was going to be coming out with Dr. Phil, so I didn't want to drink tomorrow, and just went with the 5th. A 5th today is no problem. It's easy. This is where I dwell. The main part of my existence is right here. And then you walk into the closet, and then you walk into the bathroom, and that's it. What I'm sad about is my ex-wife leaving me. Tonight, when I get ready for bed, I'll probably just pass out, not knowing what is coming tomorrow, not knowing anything. Hoping you can help me.
When we arrived at his house the next day, he was a completely different person.
Sunday morning, the day after my last interview, and I feel okay. We can pour that out. I'm done. I'm so done. After 2 or 3 days, once my body, I guess, is feel, then I just get up the next day and have no desire at all. It's weird. I can go for a couple of weeks without having a drink, but then when I do take that first sip, I mean, it's all the way, ride or die. The very first time I ever drank, I was probably 12 years old. Everybody seemed to be happy when they were drinking, and I got me a little swig, and everything kind of started getting dizzy. And then when I got to college, it really got out of hand. I have been to 2 rehabilitation facilities. The first time I went was basically to please my wife. The second facility was court ordered, so that really didn't count. Since a year ago, after my divorce with my wife, it's progressively getting worse and worse. I've got a son and a daughter that both live with their mother, and the last time that I've physically had them was about 6 months ago. I have injured myself on a number of occasions. I've got a solid steel gun cabinet. It fell backwards and I hit the back of my head and it severed an artery. My whole face got black, and it was even down to about my mid-chest. It just totally black. When I was in ICU, the doctor came in and said, if you continue on this same pattern, you'll lose your life in 4 to 5 years. Now is my rock bottom. If I don't get a hold of this stronghold pretty soon, you know, I could die.
Well, Shane, how you feeling today?
Feel great, feel great. Hadn't had a drink in several days, and I feel perfect.
Mm-hmm. You an alcoholic?
I would consider myself one, yes, sir.
Mild, moderate, severe?
Probably moderate, I guess. Severe? Severe.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
Probably severe.
But you hadn't really seen yourself drunk until just a few minutes ago.
That is correct.
Things that we see, that Opie sees, that the police see, that others in your life see, you're not there for because you're blacked out. So it all happens. You wake up the next morning and it's like nothing happened. You can understand why everybody's so upset, right?
Right.
The police came and found you in the floor. You don't recall that actual incident, do you?
I do not remember at all.
Let's take a look at that.
Shane, you all right, police department? Hey, buddy.
Hey, Shane, can you sit up? Lady, you want to go to the hospital?
No, sir.
I think it's a good idea. Shane, you remember me?
I do.
Remember I had to come into your apartment and get you last time?
Yeah.
Now, at that point, you're laying in a big pool of your own urine.
It's awful.
The cop, 15 years, said you were closer to death without being dead than anybody he's ever seen. Then you hit your head when you fell down, and so you wound up with this mask on your face, and you had a brain bleed. You got a fat lip right now. What's that from?
I fell, tripped on the carpet, and hit the door jamb.
That's when you were FaceTiming with us.
Correct.
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, feeling good.
How much have you been drinking?
Not much.
Conversation kind of dried up about there.
Yeah, it kind of stopped suddenly, doesn't it?
You said that your wife left you. You said something about that was one of the most surprising things you've said in all of our interactions with you. And I want to ask you about that right after the break. I don't care where it is, I will show up in court and I will tell them I warned you ahead of time and they will put your ass under the jail.
Understand.
Do not do that.
Tomorrow, from beauty queen to a daily dose of this.
If you're happy and you know it, shake your meds.
Tamra's really addicted to Adderall.
Adderall and the music and my inner monster.
She's all over the place.
I was so lonely I started making love to the furniture around the house.
Can she come down from her high?
Does that look manic to you?
I like mania. It's way better than depression.
You're a drug addict in a way that is risking your life.
Tomorrow. Then on Monday, 2 international men proposed online.
And she said yes to both.
Hey, Oma, he asked me to marry him. Then I fell in love with Gunesh.
That's Monday.
The closest liquor store to where I live now is about a half a mile away. So I'll run down there and get a half a gallon and get whatever I need. We're at my favorite liquor store, closed on Sunday, but this is where I buy the majority of my liquor. From time to time, I do drive under the influence, and I know it's against the law. It's straight here, straight home. Straight here, straight home every time. Both hands on the wheel, 10 and 2, you know, and I'm a very defensive driver, I guess. Feeding the beast.
So you drive drunk?
From time to time, I do, to get to the liquor store and to get home. Straight there and straight back.
Oh, well, as long as it's straight there and straight back. The hell gives you the right to drive drunk? Seriously, what gives you the right to drive drunk?
Nothing gives me the right.
No, it does not. You're getting in a 5,000-pound missile where you can't find your ass with a set of deer horns and you get behind the wheel and go drive a car?
It's terrible.
You can't even walk down the hallway of your own apartment. You turn around and walk into a wall like it wasn't there the last time, but you run into it. You say you split your lip because you tripped on the carpet. Did they just put that in the night before?
No, sir.
This is your own space that you know like the back of your own hand, and you can't navigate across 10 feet without running into stuff, but you get in a car and drive.
Terrible.
That is arrogant, psychopathic, and you stay out of the car. Do not do that. Do not do that. You crash a car, I don't care where it is, I will show up in court and I will tell them I warned you ahead of time and I will play this tape and they will put your ass under the jail.
I understand.
Let me just show you a few drunk drivers that have crashed their cars. This is the damage they cause. These are drunk drivers, like you. And I suspect they weren't as drunk as you because hardly anyone is. But these are drunk drivers where people were killed. I mean, look at this. This is a car that was hit by a drunk driver that had people in it. The drunk driver walked away, the people did not. They died. That's how fast it happens. You need to man up and straighten up, and you need to stop this crap right now. Now, there was one thing you said that really jumped out at me when you were talking about your ex-wife, and you also said it about your kids. You said, I don't know why. She left me, I don't know why. I have kids, and I can't see my kids, and I don't know why. After watching these videos...
I understand why.
Seriously?
Yes, sir.
I mean, has this come clear to you, or are you still puzzled?
No, it's very clear.
I want to look at some texts between Shane's ex-wife and child. Dad is acting weird. Come home as soon as possible. Hurry. Your ex-wife. What is he doing? Your child. bothering me, and he got pulled over by a cop because they said he was getting in the middle of the road. He's not bad. I just feel uncomfortable. I'm shaking. He has beer in his car. Eye roll emoji. I'm so aggravated. That's your child talking about their father.
That is definitely a wake-up call.
Yeah, well, I grew up with an alcoholic father, so I know exactly what that child's talking about.
Really? Yeah.
Shane owns almost a dozen firearms, says he doesn't think anybody should worry about his guns when he's drinking. We'll be right back.
That's my gun cabinet. Normally keep probably 8 to 10 guns in here.
The police had entered his apartment and noticed that his gun safe was unlocked. The officer did mention that it was a cry for a suicide attempt. The police department advised that they did not need to stay in the apartment.
And they were afraid that I would harm myself for some strange reason. I don't know why.
An unthinkable crime.
Chris Watts makes a second shocking confession from behind bars.
The devil beside me. The Chris Watts story. Husband, father, killer.
Will he finally reveal what he really did to his family?
A new true crime podcast.
In a shocking twist, he blames Shanann for the deaths.
Mystery and Murder. Analysis by Dr. Phil. Episode 1, 2, and 3 now available on Apple Podcast and Stitcher.
I think I've had 5 or 6 injuries since I've been drinking. I got some bumps on the back of my head right now, and I got a concussion. My left arm is kind of...
What's that from?
Probably when I fell the other night.
Do you have like blood pressure issues and high cholesterol issues?
I guess. I ain't got a damn clue what these are for.
Just read some of the labels.
That's for heartache. If I quit drinking, I'd probably have none of these issues.
There have been a lot of studies, thousands of studies about the impact of alcohol on the brain, and I've kind of boiled them down to a simple list. And this is your brain on alcohol. It is slower, you're clumsier, you're dumber, you're irresponsible, you're unpredictable, you're immature, and you're impulsive. And if you want to know why that's true, let me show you your brain. This is the healthy level of brain activity. And what we're seeing here with the colors, all of the green, the yellows, and the orange, this is electrical activity in the brain. This is parts of the brain talking to each other. When you drink, this is what that brain looks like. When you drink as much as you do, even these little patches
are gone.
Are not here. Now that starts happening at 0.05. At 0.08, you're legally intoxicated, so they say you can't drive. At 0.10, this is just over the legal limit. You have slurred speech, poor judgment, your coordination, balance, and motor skills are impaired, you're uninhibited, you have slowed thinking and emotionality. That's at 0.1. At 0.2, you just add all of these things onto this. So you have all this plus you're disoriented and uncoordinated. You have double vision, you have blackouts, and you don't inhibit your aggression. You're vomiting and your gag reflex is impaired. So you're likely to choke on your own vomit. So you have a risk of choking. At 0.25, it's all of this plus you have mental, physical, sensory, all severely impaired, possible loss of consciousness, and now a high risk of choking on your vomit. We're not to you yet. The last time you were in the ER, you were 0.35, which is all of this plus tremors, memory loss, and possible death, but now your breathing and heart rate start to decrease. You've got so much toxic alcohol in your brain that it starts shutting down the respiratory system, the part of your brain that tells you to breathe. Your heart rate decreases, you lose bladder control. You're lying in the floor, passed out in a pool of urine. You lose bladder control. Possible death is 50+%. That's what you were last time you were in the ER. Time before that, you were just above 0.4. Now, it's not just decreasing, you have difficulty breathing, your heart is slowing down. This is the level that is accepted as lethal. At 0.4, you are supposed to die. So you can go 3 or 4 days and your blood level, we can check your blood and it comes up 0.000, but your brain is still toxic because you have alcohol poisoning.
Well, it's certainly a wake-up call. I've never had this explained to me in this manner. It's got to stop. For my children, I've got to make a change, and I'm desperate for help.
Well, Shane says he has no idea what his triggers are, what makes him pick up the bottle. What he does know is when he takes that first sip, he's on a runaway train. We're going to talk about why. We're going to talk about what to do when we come back.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. From beauty queen to this.
If you're happy and you know it, shake your meds.
Tamara's really addicted to Adderall.
Does that look manic to you?
I like mania. It's way better than depression.
That's tomorrow.
I never remember my dad saying that I love you or that I'm proud of you. First and only person in my family to ever graduate from college. My dad never told me that he was proud of me or congratulations or anything. So it kind of upset me a little bit.
Shane loves his kids so much, and he has no problem expressing that.
I tell my kids I love them every time I talk to them on the phone, every single time.
Well, I'm back with Shane and Opie, who is his friend. And Opie, you wrote into me, right?
Yes, sir.
God bless you for being his friend. He should thank his lucky stars.
Guardian angel. She is my angel.
Yeah. You have another friend, Kelly, who's Shane's childhood friend. Kelly, thank you for joining us on Polycom.
Certainly.
You've been listening to everything so far, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you have to say to Shane?
He's got to change. The next stop is the funeral home.
Do you recognize this Shane?
No. Totally different from my college roommate and my best friend. I mean, just his physical appearance is different. His mental aptitude has changed. And I would imagine that has a lot to do with slamming your head against a gun safe.
Yeah.
It never should have happened.
Do you think there's hope for him?
I think, truthfully, I think this is the final chance, to be quite honest with you. He's not going to do it on himself by himself. He can't. He's tried. I certainly don't know what to do anymore.
You know him. Do you think he's hearing me?
I think so. This is different. He's acted different the last few days since he's been talking to your people, and there is something different about him going out there and talking to you. I'm hopeful, but I want to see something different.
Yeah, talk's cheap, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
It's behavior.
Yes.
And you said I've told you things here that you've never heard before. Do you think I know what I'm doing?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you think I've done my homework about you?
Yes, sir. I do.
You said you didn't understand why your wife and children didn't want to be around you.
I think I understand now.
You made a list of excuses about why you drink. We're going to take a look at that next. We'll be right back.
Do you need Dr. Phil's help? Text Phil to 88500 and share your story for a chance to appear on the show. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Season 18 is underway. All we need is you. If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and want to watch a live taping, visit drphil.com and click tickets. Tickets are free, and I hope to see you soon. Over the past year, Shane has had multiple trips to the emergency room, spent 10 days in ICU, had multiple head injuries, including a shocking subgaleal hemorrhage, and that's what caused the face and torso to discolor the way that it has. Now, we've asked Shane why he drinks, and like a lot of people, he had a list of excuses. He said, I wouldn't be drinking if my ex-wife hadn't left me. Thinking about my ex-wife triggers me 75% of the time. Not having my kids triggers me 100%. I miss them. Maybe you have a mental illness. Numbs away the pain when it feels like I've been treated unfairly. I mean, these are things that you say to yourself. I've added someone to the conversation here, my very dear friend, Dr. Charles Sophie. He's board-certified psychiatrist in 3 clinical specialties, and he is also the medical director of the Department of Child and Family Services for Los Angeles, which is the largest agency in the country that deals with families in crisis. Now, Dr. Sophie,
yes, sir.
Before we get to any of the alcohol, we know that he's had a brain bleed. He's one time to the point that he's actually had a brain bleed. Right. We know that he's subject to blackouts. We know, he's got a fat lip. He's got scars on his head. We know he's fallen, and it is not unusual when you're dealing with alcoholics and drug addicts that they have serious head trauma because they've fallen and fallen. You know that he's fallen and hit his head, right?
Yes.
Each injury adds on to the next injury. You don't really ever heal, and then you injure, and then you injure, and then you injure. And that's laying all on top of your selfishness that you started off with. Okay. And that's not fair to your kids.
No. So at this point, we don't really know where he is because we don't have a baseline, right? We don't have any kind of sober baseline of his brain, hormones, biochemistry. We don't know. We don't really know where he is.
No, we don't know how he thinks. We don't know if there's a disruption in the way that you process information, because there are times I'm looking at you and I'm not sure you know what's going on here even. Hello? So that's what I mean.
I agree.
Yeah.
You have a toxic brain. We're talking about alcohol poisoning here. We're going to take a break. Shane only has 1 month's rent left in his bank account, and then he's going to be homeless. So what do we do? I mean, is it just done? I mean, is he just over with? Or is there a way for this man to fight back? We're going to talk about that when we get back, and he's going to have to answer some hard questions about exactly what he's willing to do. We'll be back. Coming up on Dr. Phil, visit our website and subscribe to our email newsletter. You'll get weekly updates, life strategies, and exclusive video that you won't find anywhere else.
Plus, on drphil.com, you can see sneak previews of upcoming shows. Log on today.
I want to introduce the Chief Clinical Coordinator of Revive Treatment Center, Dr. Dina Mannion, who is a longtime friend of mine. Dr. Mannion, good to see you.
You too.
Revive Treatment Center is a premier dual diagnosis treatment program, and they look at and treat the medical, physical, spiritual, mental health of their clients with really top-tier experts. And Revive understands the complexity of addiction with co-occurring disorders. We're talking about depression, anxiety, all the things that can spark the need to drink, and they just kind of go in that circle that I was talking about. And Dr. Mannion, this is a very severe case. Would you agree?
Definitely. Hi, Shane.
Hello.
Nice to see you. Based on what you're telling us, Dr. Phil, I agree with everything that you're saying in terms of the first real thing that we need to do is get you detoxified from alcohol and really get a baseline and see where you're at. And I don't think this is a short-term process. I think that after detox, I think to engage in the residential program so that we can really find out what's going on underneath. And then I actually have a plan for you after you're done with residential to go to Awakenings, which is a mental health facility that's based in neuroscience. And we do neurofeedback and we do brain testing and all kinds of things to help you to recover, not just from the alcohol, but also from the trauma and anything else that you've endured.
The option here is to do this right one time and be done with it. Because if you don't, those children are history. Now, Dr. Mannion is here. We're offering you this help. Will you take it?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Dr. Dina Mannion from Revive Treatment Center, and always Dr. Charles Sophie. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I do read your comments and questions. For instance, @Chase said, "Hey, Dr. Phil, can I get a shout out? You're my hero." So Chase, can you get a shout out? Can't help you, buddy. Yeah, Chase. Hope things are going well for you. We'll see you next time.